when Bloober Team was making this, they got a lot of help from like different members of the original Silent Hill 2 staff. And there was apparently this one dude who quit after Silent Hill 2. And the reason he gave in like some recent interviews around the time of this release was apparently like, okay, so with Silent Hill 2, apparently they were going to touch up on a lot of dark topics or some really messed up ones, more than they already did. And they had to scrap a bunch of stuff for both censor purposes and because they wanted to make sure the game was palatable for people, let alone because of time restraints as well. But apparently, one of the people who worked on the game, who didn't work afterwards, like he quit afterwards, apparently came out saying like like a couple of ideas that were in like story development stuff, a lot of which weren't used or were like some semi-important story pieces, were all his idea and then stolen from other members of staff. And then stuff dealing with the director that they added in this game, or the hospital dude, doctor, that will be dealing, like, getting notes from stuff later. Apparently there was a huge thing with that he was a part of. And that kind of fueled some of the rabbit hole stuff people were looking into. And then uh, it brought up some interesting connotations for the main character here that kind of defies the sort of gender role stuff that people usually do, especially in the past when it comes to male characters. And though there was a lot of stuff promoting it and stuff you can find in game proving it, because they re-added a bunch of stuff that they couldn't before, and because they also wanted to add more to the story. Uh, Apparently that rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way, because they felt like it was, oh, that's weird. Because apparently they felt like it was some sort of bastardization of the character. But instead it gave a lot more context to like shit that the dude would go through in both like the original and the novel, besides the remake. Ooh, so I barely use mac spice. Ooh, garlic salt cheese is in there. Ooh, that sounds yummy. Mm. But like, yeah. So apparently it pissed off a lot of Silent Hill fans. But it's like when you actually look at the shit, I think it was like they have a Twitter account. I think it was like Rachel something. I'd have to look at it again. But like they actually show in-game stuff they found in the files. Uh, they used like certain things to glitch certain areas and stuff to find things. And then they found stuff that was like incomplete or like that references stuff in the game that made like a coherent like backstory or like something that never gets really brought up except very barely. So like in the original, James makes this like nonchalant comment out of nowhere about being in the hospital before, but not like being there for his wife, but like actually before meeting Mary, he was in the hospital. And then in the novel, they gave a tiny bit more emphasis that he used to have mental problems. And so they like did a full on like thing for that in this game apparently. But it's like a whole like huge like thing with some metaphors, changes context with some of the puzzles and stuff. So people saw it as like bastardization, I guess, which was stupid. Or would just right up just ignore anything that this person said and be like, oh, they're making stuff up, despite there being like video, photographic evidence this person would do of like files, stuff in game, looking up references, actually looking stuff up from the original game and the novel, comparing it, which was interesting. Also, fun fact, in the HD collection here, you see this beautiful sign with these beautiful yeah, it sounds dumb. But with some of the context, I can see where people with a bit of closed-mindedness towards what can and can't happen to a person because of their gender and societal stereotypes where it can cause a problem with accepting those things. But this sign, fun fact, in the HD collection, for some unknown reason, this is the dumbest thing ever, especially for something that's supposed to be an HD collection. They changed the font for everything to fucking Comic Sans. So you had like what was once a beautiful sign in the original be replaced with this ugly Comic Sans font. So in some of the couple of the first weeks after people found out a way that you can I think it was they either made something or they found something that could allow you to like glitch the camera in some way to look at things in the game. They found out that the developers hid a funny little Easter egg where they have the original Comic Sans font sign actually hidden in the barn there that you can't access in the original game. Uh, which is interesting because there's apparently so many things in the game that you can't even see normally without like having to go out of your way to like get stuff to glitch the camera, to like look out of bounds and stuff. And that's not just like, oh, funny Easter eggs. It goes same with like cutscene camera angles, noises you can't hear in certain cutscenes unless you completely get rid of like music and sound effects or some stuff like that. It's interesting. And it's wild, and I love it. Or it's like, if you look away, you wouldn't naturally be able to see certain things, but there are certain characters will do them. So like later on you'll have like this one person who's with you and she'll see normal, but it's like if you have the camera towards her, yeah, she'll see normal. But if you have like something where you can glitch the camera and look back at her, you can see like she's like smiling and other weird shit at certain times, and it's very interesting. And I love that because the old games used to do very interesting shit where you had to go out of your way of looking into files, brightening up images or areas, or like having to go to certain places to find things. So like find new stuff. So like one good example of this would be like I think it was they had 400 or more different sound effect files in the original Silent Hill 2 that had like only a certain amount of chance for each thing to randomly trigger and play in certain areas. So every time you played, you would not get like the same sound effects in the same areas sometimes, or you'd sometimes get like totally new jump scares while looking around. And then they apparently decided to do the same thing with this game. So like for example with the corn stalks, that stuff never happened to me before with the game when I played it before. And it even did like a little remote rumbling thing. But like you can see it where it was like, you'll hear like the fence jangle, or you hear like the building there creaking. Like that wasn't ever a thing that happened before. No trespassing. Visitors must register inside. But yeah, I like it because though they sort of redid the soundtrack, like Akira Yamaoka actually went through his full-on original soundtrack of both sound effects and especially the music, and redid a whole bunch of stuff. So like this music here, it's very similar to like the original like ambient music. But then there's like different variations of it that can play out at certain parts, and I love it. Also, sorry if I keep rambling on. I'm I can admit I'm a huge nerd, and when I get excited, I do ramble. Went to town to get the window fixed. Spare key in the drawer. But they can't open the door. Hey! Welcome, welcome! Things going good. You missed a whole bunch of stuff at the start of the stream. And some little fun facts I was talking about.
Hello? Anyone in here?
But yeah, this is Silent Hill 2 Remake. Uh, I haven't really gotten to play the original Silent Hill 2. I have gotten to play the horrible stuff that is HD collection, or I could say I'm still playing it because of how terrible it is. And I played the remake when it did first come out, and they changed so much stuff since then. Cause, like for example, when I first played this game, this whole area, no matter what, was pitch black. You'd have to like put gamma way up to barely see anything, and it looked terrible. But then it's like now you can actually like see the desk. Oh, and then you can see the cute little keychain they have on here. Auto service and tires, and it looks like a little tire. That's actually adorable. And then you can kind of see the walls and the stuff in here now, not just a desk. Oh yeah, it's been fun actually. Besides the stuff. How about you? How are things going with you? And then also with how things are going so far, it's going good. At the start there was scuff. How would I put it? So I was having this problem where when doing stuff with the graphics, though it would not show up on the streaming side of things.